All right, stand by.
Pump it, baby, pump it.
Right around the corner, and Coleman's Dynamic Products is offering a dynamic gift just for Dad. Pick 6 for Dad. Any 6 items in my product line. Coleman's Dynamic Rub, dust, juice, nuts, batter, and you name it, all for only $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Upgrade to Pick 10 for only $39.95. Pick 6 for Dad. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special. Dad and you will be glad you did. Each purchase receives a Coleman's Dynamic downloadable cookbook. We want to say Happy Father's Day for all the great fathers out there. And while you enjoy your day, don't forget to bake it, grill it, smoke it, oh yeah, with Coleman's Dynamic product. Pick 6 or pick 10. You must call 615-554-0568 to get this dynamic Father's Day special.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black
Oh, okay, never mind.
the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and some trio.
You all behave, okay?
David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the show. Black Focus Radio, the Wednesday edition. Our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. It's going to be an interesting show. I'm just going to warn you right now. We've got Robert and Cliff in today.
My dog up in here with
And,
me. It's about to go down.
I'm just going to tell you, they're going to act a fool. You know, I'm trying to hold them down, but
We never do that.
no, we're gonna have some fun. We got a couple of things we're gonna talk about, of course, and of course we got Black Facts coming up here in just a moment. I'm gonna tell you, the Black Facts is not gonna lend through the conversation today, and I'm doing Black Facts purposely. This particular Black Fact.
What?
Because of your frustration. It's almost we were channeling one another. So see, that's why I didn't say when you came in here with your with your ire,
I wasn't hot.
your danderfuck.
I wasn't hot.
I was sitting here saying, this is gonna work out just fine. Just fine, y'all, just fine. So if you want to call the show, you can by calling 855-525-5683. You can also catch me on YouTube. I'll be posting that link via Facebook here in just a moment. But you can simply go out to YouTube and type in Black Focus Radio. I would love for you to do that and then subscribe, because try to get my subscriptions up on YouTube. Also coming up about 1:10 today, we'll talk to attorney LaTanya Austin, and we're going to do a new feature once a week. It may be her or it may be someone else with an eye on Little Rock, and that eye being politically speaking. Okay?
I like her.
So this should be cool as well. Don't be flirting with her, okay, Cliff? Okay, so...
That's terrible, man.
You know, I should say Robert. Both of y'all. Okay. But
Dave, don't flirt, man.
well, I'm cool like that.
We're just friends, Dave. That's all.
But that's cool. But I think it's going to be a good opportunity for us to start focusing specifically and mainly politically speaking, as it relates on Little Rock from a political standpoint.
All right,
Does
cool.
that make sense?
Let's make it happen.
So
make
that
that
ought to be
public
interesting. That's about 1:10 today. As we go forward, I will tell you that pretty soon there will be a Black Focus online. I'm just now talking about it, but it is in the works. So stay tuned for that.
You better.
We're trying to put together a good product for you. We'll let you know as we get closer and closer to the lunch date on that.
We got some bits and
Okay.
pieces.
Let me welcome in my co-host.
What's happening, brother? I'm sorry,
you,
somebody
need,
want to do that. What's happening, brother?
you need to wait till I introduce you.
My apologies.
First of all, here's Robert Webb.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
thank you. Hello, David. How are you?
I am simply marvelous,
I'm
Bob.
glad you're doing well.
I'm, the weather's a bit frightening, but
The
I'm
weather's
able
beautiful.
to persevere.
The weather's beautiful.
Yeah, I
It
can't-
don't flood in the hood.
I told someone you said that, and they like, you're right.
God gave us the good land.
And my other co-host, our Wednesday co-host, Cliff May. Hey, Cliff, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
You know,
Happy to be here. Was sure if it rains today, I ain't gonna be able to get home though, because that bridge in Conway was real close.
Is it? I was wondering how high is the water? Because now the Arkansas River is back flushing into Lake Conway.
Yeah,
You know that, right?
When I was coming over that little bridge before you hit to Conway.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the water was like level almost with the road, so
Really?
I'm
Wow.
hoping it don't sprinkle before I get home.
Jeez.
Know it for me, man.
Well, just have to get just have to get a hotel along the way. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. There are a couple of things that we're gonna talk about. First, we're gonna do Black Facts.
Okay, can we do Black Facts so we can hurry up?
Boy, you were just
I'm on
jumping.
fire this
I
morning.
see, brother.
Come on.
Get some
Don't touch me, 'cause you might
corn,
burn
and we
up.
can make some popcorn off of
'cause
you.
I'm
Little
on
butter.
Fire this morning.
Woo-wee. Yeah, that looks pretty nice.
That's what's up.
We're gonna do Black Facts.
Okay.
Then Robert did see When They See Us, and a lot of the show is gonna surround When They See Us because I've got an article where the victim has spoken, and I thought I had sympathy, but I don't know now that I read what she said. I'll explain all of that, and then of course Linda Farstein is running for cover, and rightfully so. So we'll talk about all of that.
Well, let's hit the budget for. We're gonna do that when your girl get here, right?
What's do what?
Later last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do
We're gonna
the
talk city. Okay.
the
That's cool.
city
My bad,
at
my
110.
bad.
Okay.
My bad.
Follow along, Robert. I know you're excited.
I am only
Man,
hearing one. I am only hearing one thing.
I'm really happy that
I'm hearing only
you
one
came
thing.
in with this neophyte fever.
I don't have. I don't.
You
have
know,
fever.
I mean-
when you hear what I say, you're gonna be very.
Man, I'm
You're
just
gonna be very disappointed.
Woo,
You're gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah.
When you hear what I say,
We are?
yeah.
Oh,
Everybody's gonna be very disappointed.
well. Remember, you're doing a radio show. Now.
Yeah, you're gonna be very
So you
disappointed.
gotta expound. All right.
All right. Yeah.
And also, if we have time, and we should, I'm going to talk about how I set a friend's wall on fire. And if you've ever set somebody's wall on fire, it's comical. Okay? And it surrounds the abortion debate. And the question is, I saw a process diagram yesterday afternoon, and I'm going to tell you all about it when we get to it. And I'm going to be honest, it ticked me off. Okay? And I responded in kind. So it set the entire wall of that post on fire. So we're going to talk about it. And we've talked about it before on this show, not with you guys, but I've talked about it before. And I'm going to expound one more time. And, they say, well, the law is the law. Well, at one time, slavery was the law, but that didn't make it right.
Yeah, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's ethical.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about that anyway. So let me hurry up and do this before Robert bites my head off. Well, in light of When They See Us, and I've said even with the Bradley Blackshire killing, that was a public lynching. In fact, what we're seeing around this country is with black men being shot by police is nothing more than public lynchings. When we're seeing black people being accosted or stopped by police for making what they consider wide turns or straddling a line or not putting on a flasher to make a left or right turn, what that is nothing more than the patty rollers checking your papers to make sure that massa gave you the right to stray from the plantation. With that analogy being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the top 5 U.S. states with the most lynchings from 1880. So I'm curious, how can you name the top 5?
Yeah, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Florida. I'm missing
Mississippi,
one.
Arkansas, Louisiana, Florida.
I'm missing one. I
Right
can't
down?
think of the other one.
Yeah. You got another one?
I can't think of it.
Okay.
Oh, I can think of one.
Okay. Go. What do you?
I know
think?
one of them got to be Georgia.
Okay. So what are your top 5?
I would say what time period are we talking about?
From 1884.
I'm gonna say Georgia, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama.
We forgot about the North. It's one northern state in there.
Carolina.
Nah, I mean far north, like I can't remember now which one it is. I want to say Illinois. It's Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois
All right.
is
So
one.
in the late 19th century, lynchings were the only latest form of racial terrorism against Black Americans after white plantation owners had used various forms of violence against the enslaved. According to the National Advancement of Colored People, tension had began brewing throughout the late 19th century in the U.S., and this was mostly felt in the South, where people blamed their financial woes on the newly freed slaves that lived among them. Whites resorted to lynching as a form of retaliation towards the freed blacks. What mostly triggered these lynchings were claims of petty crime, rape, or any alleged sexual contact between a black man and a white woman. Whites started lynching because they felt it was crucial to protect the white woman. From 1882 to 1968, 4,743 lynchings occurred in the United States that are recorded. I would argue that there are a lot more than that.
Right.
Of these people that were lynched, 3,446 were black. The blacks lynched accounted to 72.7% of the people lynched, according to the NAACP, which was quick to add that not all of the lynchings were ever recorded. So there you go. Out of the 4,743 people lynched, only 1,297 white people were lynched. That is 27%. These whites were lynched for domestic crimes, helping the blacks, or being against lynching. A typical lynching would involve criminal accusations, often dubious, against Black Americans, an arrest, and the assembly of a lynch mob, intent on subverting the normal constitutional judicial process. Can I read that again? Did y'all get that?
Yep.
Did y'all get? Do I need to read that again?
Read that one more time.
Just in case people didn't get that. Now, this is about 1880 and forward to 1968.
Yep.
Let me just read that again. A typical lynching would involve criminal accusations, often dubious, against Black Americans, an arrest, and the assembly of a lynch mob intent on subverting the normal constitutional judicial process.
Surprise, surprise.
If I have to explain that to you all, you're not getting it.
No,
Okay.
Sarah Garner.
Okay? And beyond. Just pick a name. Bradley Blackshire.
Yeah.
Pick a name. Anyway, let's talk about those top 5 states. Who did you say?
I said Georgia, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Carolina.
Georgia, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Carolina. North or south? There are 2 of them.
Both.
Okay. All right, you can only pick one. But okay.
One A and
I
one
will
B?
tell you you're wrong on that. All right.
One A and one B.
Yeah, here's
If I only
obviously.
got to pick one, and I'll take South Carolina because I know they had some hand in that. They were the slave port.
Yeah. Mississippi was one.
Yeah.
Number one. Okay. That was number one.
Uh-huh.
And number two was Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. They recorded, by the way, 531 lynchings during that time
I
period.
don't know why
I say
people
Georgia
like
because of the
this.
Mary situation.
Number three was Texas.
Hey,
352.
I'm on a roll.
Number
Oh,
four
Illinois.
was Louisiana. 391.
I thought it was a northern city that was a northern state.
I know who you're thinking about, but it's not Illinois. I'll tell you who it is. And Alabama was number 5.
I got 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't
So 347 that they know of. You're thinking of Missouri.
No.
Missouri.
I gotta find out why.
Missouri typically shocks people when they understand how many lynchings Missouri actually had. Missouri and you see vestiges of Missouri's racism just with this recent Ferguson thing that goes on, or how they've been arresting black people and charging them with petty crimes to fund their city governments and things of that nature.
Also, their activists from the Ferguson situation with Mike Brown, they've all been coming up missing, and they're pretty sure that the police are the ones that's been doing it over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So they've all been found one by one. They've been being found in suspicious conditions. Like one guy was found burned alive in his car in an abandoned street.
I think one of the ladies was she found in a river or culvert or something like
Something like
that.
that. Yeah.
She accidentally on purpose drowned.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
But let me tell y'all something. Something ever happened to me. Y'all know what happened. Y'all know what's up, right? It's gonna be a body with mine. I ain't gonna be by myself. I'm taking one of them with me.
That's good. You need to
So
come.
y'all need to know that. So I don't want them to say Robert Webb committed suicide. They'll be like, no, no, not that brother.
Yeah, that's kind of like I say. I didn't commit suicide. I'm letting y'all know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, for more dynamic black facts, our culture, our history, our people.
So there's a reason why I decided to do that black fact. Is, as I said, what was going on then is going on now. Okay, that mob is nothing more than armed police running into black neighborhoods and harassing, ending up shooting black people. We see that more and more every day, and it kind of works with what's going on right now, and that's the fervor that has taken place with When They See Us.
Yeah.
Obviously, When They See Us is the documentary that was put together by Ava DuVernay on Netflix that was released this weekend. I don't think I've seen, and this is going to be crazy, but I don't think I've seen as much fervor of a television show released, believe it or not, since Luke Cage Power Man. Luke Cage Power Man, when they released it, if you remember, it crashed their service the first weekend. Okay.
Well, this one takes you to another place. Well, I put it this way: if you didn't follow it, it's a whole lot to take in, right? So if you've never heard anything about it, it's kind of rough to take in, right? But if you've heard a little bit about it, it's not as overwhelming. You know, if you've heard some, you've read some articles, it's not that overwhelming. But I think for me, man, the thing that nothing about it was shocking, nothing surprised me. I wasn't awestruck. I wasn't anything. I mean, I was kind of depressing. I was kind of numb to it because that happens all the time.
Right.
It's not like that. It's not like what happened to them is some anomaly. That happens all the time. So, as I watched it, the one thing that stuck out to me was the reaction of the cops after they went back to say that they didn't do it. That's what really troubled me, because I mean, I think at the same time, while police have a responsibility to find suspects, they also have a responsibility to the suspect or the potential suspect to make sure they're getting the right person.
No, they don't.
They should. And I believe they do.
No, they don't.
I feel they should.
The only thing that they're concerned about is the DA, convictions, and arrest for the police. That's it. Clearing cases. They gonna, and see, that's the problem here.
But when you have that,
let me finish. Here's why I'm telling you. Here's proof of that.
Okay.
Let me just say 2 words. It's the name of an organization. It's called the Innocence Project.
Right.
How is it that they continually find people who, it's almost every month now, someone is being exonerated for crimes that they did not commit? And many of those crimes are simply being pent on poor people who do not have legal or adequate legal representation. So they don't care about what you said, Rob. You see, you're living in that Pollyannish world.
What's that?
That's that world where you're hoping that everything is supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. Not when it comes to police. Because police, their only concern is clearing cases, and DAs are concerned is convictions. Here's the other point to that, and I'll let you finish. Look at DAs, when they run for another office, what is the number one thing they run on?
Same thing your man ran on.
My conviction rate.
Conviction rate.
Okay?
I prosecuted all your kids when I
didn't matter whether or not they were guilty or innocent. I convicted them. And that's the problem.
But that's not uncommon, right? And so like I was saying earlier, that's not uncommon for me. So watching the show, I didn't have any, it's bad to say I didn't feel bad for them. I didn't feel, how can I say that? I felt bad for them, but I didn't feel bad for them, if it makes any sense. But the show itself was, okay, I'm sorry, I want to get back to my point before I forget it. So, when a police officer takes a case, I believe that they should be looking out for everybody because their job is to protect and serve. And if you convict the wrong guy, then you're not protecting and serving because you left somebody out there to hurt somebody else, which we later learned that the guy who did it hurt somebody else, right? And he even killed her, right? Gouged her eyes out with a spoon or some craziness like that, right?
Reyes was his last name.
Right. So what's crazy about this is if we just sit back and look at the thing and think about it, yeah, the police have a job, and that job is to find the suspect, not create one, not manufacture one, but to find who actually committed the crime. That didn't happen in this case, and it didn't happen in a lot of cases. And what was even more troubling is that
you seem disappointed in that.
In what?
That the police's job is to find the culprit, but you seem disappointed that they don't do that.
You have to be, to some degree. I'm not disappointed. I'm more angry than anything else because I pay for that.
Yes, you do.
I pay for that abuse. I pay for others to be abused. We all do, right? Yeah, we pay for it. So
well, the reason just to give an example, I don't know if you all saw the article last week where this organization broke down some of the went through a lot of Facebook posts of police officers.
Oh yeah.
Have y'all seen that? So shocked police, Phoenix police chief pulls officers from duty after report of racist comments on Facebook. So they go through all of these Facebook posts and discover all of these racist. For instance, one was saying it's a good day to have a chokehold, to do a chokehold. It just goes on and on and on. So my point being, without getting all into what they said, is that that's counter to what you think they should do.
Right.
And I think part of the reason that we allow police to do what they do is many people want to believe what you just said. But when in reality...
I believe it should work that way.
Well, I agree. So do I. But in reality, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
We see that. And then you still have to look at the history of police, where they came from, how they were developed. and understand that that mentality still permeates police departments across this country. And that's why you still continue to have these people being murdered by police and the police getting off. And I saw the other day there was an article published where police raped a girl underage girl while she was in custody. He's doing no time.
Yeah, well, you see. Yeah, you see it. You hear about a lot of that in prisons and jails where these correction officers actually molest.
No, this wasn't a correction officer. This was a beat cop who arrested her. Or the story of the young lady.
To me, they're no different.
But I agree, but or the story where they just busted him in Chicago, where he pulled over the young lady. She had expired tags. Told her he wouldn't impound her car if she had sex with him. We know about the case in Oklahoma where they took 3 or 4 years to convict that cop who was pulling over women and raping them. Exactly. So the point I'm trying to make is, Robert, is that I totally agree with what we wish police were.
Right.
But what we have to start doing now is understanding the reality. And we understand that the people that are police officers, men and women, are pulled from regular Joes. Okay? People on the street.
And most of them aren't good people.
And if you took the average person on the street, they're not very good people. You see what I'm saying?
Police officers.
People in general. You see what I'm saying? So if we're pulling from that pool, that people on average, I would say there are more good people than there are bad people. But let's give a 60-40 ratio.
Okay.
Or let's even give a 70-30 ratio.
I'm gonna go 50-50.
Okay. Even if you pulling 30% of your officers that are not good people, that's a problem.
Okay, so in anything you have to have an enemy. You got to. I mean, in anything you do, there's two opposing forces, almost in everything, right? So when it comes to the police, then black folks are that opposing force, guilty or not. That's just the way it is. I talked to a guy who used to work for the police department who said he quit. White dude said he quit. Said because the longer he worked there, the more racist he became. And it was not because of anything that was happening in the street. It was because of all the stuff that he encountered as a policeman. That was it. Just the environment of our police department.
I think a lot of that has to do with the leadership because they tell. Would you hear a lot of times like the cop from Baltimore that retired who speaks out against police all the time is a lot of the police leadership often tells their people what areas to police.
Right.
And like if you have a district that's separated between black communities and white communities, they always tell them to focus on the black communities instead of. So what you see is all the bad stuff in the black community because they're not spending enough time in the white community. Had they spent equal amounts of time with equal amounts of officers in both districts, you would get the same experience from both. But because they overpopulate their patrols and their traffic stops in communities of color, they're only seeing the bad from one group.
Right.
Whereas you might only have a couple officers who see the bad from the white people. You know, you have the majority of your officers seeing all the bad from the black people.
And so that's what makes it easy.
That's why leadership matters.
Well,
I mean, you're always going to have crime and you're always going to see bad stuff, but if all of your people are spending all of their time in one group, in one part of the town with one group of people, of course they're all going to think, hey, the stereotypes are real. But if you spend equal amounts of time in both, I think it would be a lot different. And you would actually have people, especially if you rotate your people in and out of both sectors. Because, you know,
before we continue this conversation, I need to throw in, I need to throw a curve to this conversation.
Of course you do.
Because we're talking about the Central Park Five and when they see us. And certainly there are a lot of people who still hadn't watched it. There are a lot of people who are afraid to watch it. I've read posts where people began watching and couldn't watch it anymore.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to. I just haven't built up the nerve to watch it yet.
I think the best analogy I saw, and I used it, was that it's a Black American horror story, to say the least. But we can't talk about the Central Park Five unless we talk about the victim. Okay, and the victim has spoken, and I was wondering when she would. Her name is Trish Maley. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And I want to go down, and she says she's She's happy that that the information is going to be released. Officials have released over 200,000 pages of the documents, 95 depositions, and other records in the $41 million settlement. She talks about living. She doesn't remember any of it. She couldn't tell you who did it, who shot John. It was just that vicious. And she said, I wanted to know what happened and who was involved since Reyes came forward. And ideally, I want to be sure, because the last thing I want is for innocent people to have been convicted. And I'm thinking, oh, that's great. I'm feeling good about Trish, okay? But she hopes the unsealed records do more than satisfy her burning curiosity. Maylee wants to bring justice to the police and prosecutors who fought so hard to bring it to her during the investigation and trial. Huh? What justice she wants to bring to them. Maylee believes firmly the Central Park Five were not wronged by the NYPD and the Manhattan's DA's office. Hey man, I'm really feeling something about Trish now. When the lawsuit was settled, this is Maylee, it gave some the impression that the detectives and the prosecutors had acted improperly. And I'd like to see it be acknowledged that there wasn't a violation of the team's civil rights.
Wow. That's horrible.
Nope, not gonna do it.
Robert, this is a talk show. You have to contribute. Your thoughts.
I can't bite that apple.
Your thoughts, Robert. Come on.
I can't bite that apple.
Okay.
Not today, maybe next week.
Cliff, you have
can't bite
thoughts.
that apple.
I want to say some really horrible things, but
Just remember, you're on a talk show. You have to be professional.
I can't
I
bite
know.
the apple, brother.
like I said, it rhymes with bitty.
Well, here's the thing. Because when I read that, because I'll be honest, I read this article yesterday. And when I first saw that she had spoken, because I was wondering, over the years, we've never heard from her. Mm-hmm. At least to my knowledge.
But she spoke before.
So when I read this,
She spoke after a court appearance.
after that, but after that, it's been, we had, even with all the settlements and things going on, we hadn't heard at least much. So I'm wondering how she figures that, number one, the police convicted the wrong 5 people and they coerced them. Mm-hmm. They lied on them. They did everything they could to convict these boys who did not commit this crime.
Slander the name.
You see?
Threw him in prison.
So
I'm gonna tell you something, man. I know this is gonna sound terrible, but it is what it is. So when I go to school with kids, I see some of the same tactics used in this movie used in school. Same
I'm not
exact
surprised.
Tactics, same
Not surprised.
exact tactics, right? And watching it, I was more angry with the black people than I was with anybody else.
I'm glad. That's
And the reason I
interesting.
was
You brought
angry
that
with
up.
them is because they played a role in it.
Which black people?
The black police officers, they played a role in it.
Of course they did.
They stood there stood there and watched it happen. And my thing is, I have very little use for you. I have very little use for you if you black and you watch other black folks get abused and you don't say
But they're
that.
not black, they're blue.
That was the point I was going to make.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cliff.
They're Smurfs.
As
There
Forrest
you
Gump
go.
said, that's all I got to say about that.
You see,
No, but seriously, I mean, I'm telling you, watching it, like I said, I've read stuff about it, but watching it took me to a whole nother level because it's so much stuff we never even think about, right? I mean, let me tell you the part that it actually broke my heart. I'll admit, I actually cried on this one scene. I actually cried, man. I cried for about 30 minutes. I had to stop it. I cried for about 30 minutes.
wow.
So the father is telling his son. So, all right, I'll try to do that later. But it's just this one scene, man. It broke my heart, man.
Well, let me add something to this, because when you look at this from it's emotional, it's tough, but I think what people need to understand, and if nothing else comes out of this, is that they don't give a damn about people of color. And as you said, and I thought when you said you were angry at the black people, I thought you were going to say you were angry at their parents too.
Not really angry at their parents, man. Their parents just didn't know. Their parents just had no clue. I mean, it's not like we're talking about people who were savvy with the legal system. They were not. They were just hardworking people, man, just trying to get through.
The reason I said it because I had a discussion with someone who said they were angry at the parents.
Let me tell you, the father, it broke my heart. So he's telling his son to tell the truth. And so they take the parents out, and they have the father outside, because the father says, I want to talk to somebody. This ain't my kid. My kid wouldn't do this. I know my kid wouldn't do this. So they go outside. He's telling the guy, sorry about that, Dave, my son wouldn't do this. So he keeps saying that to him, right? And the detective goes and pulls the father's record. And the father had a conviction back in the day. So the father sitting on the bench, and the police standing over him and said, you work at Imperial. He was like, yeah, it's a good job with good benefits. He said, yes, they know you're a convicted felon. And the father's sitting there like, what? And he says, that's in my past. And this guy says, well, if they don't know you're a convicted felon, it ain't in your past. So he says to him, hear me clearly, go in there and tell your son, if y'all want to go home, go in there and tell your son to tell the truth. He walks back in there, he says to his son, when you go home, you tell this man what he want to hear. And his son says to him, Dad, you want me to lie? He said, tell that man what he want to hear. That broke my heart, man. Because dude, I mean, it wasn't like dude a bad father. Dude just,
wait. You know, you have sons, right?
Yeah, but let me tell you something, Dave. Man, I kept thinking about seeing one of my boys sitting there, and all I want to do is protect my kid. That's it, man. I want to protect my kid, make sure my kid is safe. And man, I ain't thinking about nothing else, man.
Right. So, but see, here's the thing: had they told that they were gonna tell his job that he was a felon, the worst could have happened. He would have lost his job.
He would have lost everything. They would have lost everything.
Well, they would have lost the life maybe at that period. Hang on, let me finish my point. I agree.
Let me tell you this. I can't criticize that man.
I'm not criticizing, but I'm just simply saying
let me tell you why I can't do that. Because man, I watched that scene and I rewound it about 6 times. Because I had to sit there, and the look on that brother's face was, that man wanted to protect his kid. And the only thing he knew how to do, was to go in there and tell him, say what they want you to say so we can go.
Robert, but see, I disagree with you.
Yeah, you might.
I think he was trying to protect his job. That's what they threatened him with. Man. See, I'm just saying, I'm a dad. There is no way. I'm just saying, and we can all say in the aftermath what we would have done, but basically he sold his child out. We got to be honest about that. Man, regardless of the circumstances, he told his child to lie. Wait a minute. If he would have said,
we have these really high expectations sometimes when it comes to certain things, right?
But when it comes to my children, I am not going to sell my child down the river.
This is the thing. Every parent that was involved made some mistake along the way. Right? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because they were bad parents. Mm-hmm. It was just because they didn't know nothing.
But you would agree that was a mistake on his part.
What?
By choosing his job.
I'm not gonna say it was a mistake.
What would you call it?
I'm gonna say is that You got folks who make choices like that every day about their
I agree.
kids. And that's not something that's uncommon.
I agree.
That's common. People make choices like that every day about their kids.
Right.
And it's
but,
unfortunate.
But
I'm
even
not
though they
gonna
make
say-
choices like that every day, don't mean they're the right choices.
I'm not going to criticize. I can't kind of pass judgment on that. And let me tell you why I can't. Because as I watched that show and I watched the parents and I watched what the parents did, not one time did the parents ever say to them, tell me what happened. That's the first thing I would have asked my son. Tell me what happened. Tell me what happened, right? Nobody ever asked them that. Nobody ever asked. The question was never asked, tell me what happened. And so, again, we're talking about people who, I don't know what their education level was, right? But you're not talking about people who are highly educated. Man, Dave, put me in a situation like that, knowing all I know. And I'm thinking, I'm talking about that situation. Your son is accused of raping and then they're killing a white woman. Bruh, honestly, I'd like to think I'd be Robert Webb, but I might not be. I wouldn't even want to be in a situation like that. Dude, I can't even guarantee, I can honestly say to you right in this moment, that if that happened to one of my sons, dude, I don't know what I would do. I honestly mean that.
I know what I would do.
Everybody likes to think I go in and I get blah, 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 blah.
But wait a minute. That father said, and I haven't watched it purposely. I will watch it soon. But that father said that's not his son.
He did.
Right? That father said he knew his son. His son did not do what they were saying he did.
So, man.
No. Let me finish.
Okay,
Let me finish. Because if you know your son, your child, and certainly we know all of our children all of us are capable of doing some dastardly stuff depending on what we're pushed to do. But in that particular case, he knew that particular thing his child would not have done. So why didn't he stick to his guns? Why did he say his dad knew he was a felon? Okay? Dad knew that at some point that could have come back to haunt him. He knew that. Okay? So at the end of the day, and I'm just saying this is just from my perspective.
Right.
Okay? At the end of the day, the worst thing that if he said, well, if we going home, you tell them to lie? No, we going home and I might lose my job, but I'm going to make sure that the truth comes out. I'm not going to go in there and tell my son to lie. Even if you're not educated, you're educated in the black community, and you know that if you lie about a crime, you going to jail. So if he lied and said, yeah, I did it, he ain't going home. He going to jail.
All right, Dave. I don't.
You understand that logic, right?
With you. I don't disagree with you. But let me say to you again.
By the way, LaTanya said he did sell his son out.
Let me say this to you again. It's easy for us to say that in this moment.
Oh, I know it is.
We wasn't there.
I agree.
And my thinking is,
I don't think I could have done it.
I don't know what I would have done. I'd like to think.
Because having that on your conscience from that point afterward, knowing that you sent your son to...
So would you agree that the lie that he told his son to tell caused his son to go to jail?
No. His son was going to prison regardless.
Maybe.
No. They were going to prison regardless.
Well, maybe. But let's put it this way.
They were going to prison regardless.
It greased the path.
No. They were already going to prison. From the time this thing started, they were going to prison. That was not even open for question. They were gone. All that stuff was perfunctory. They should have just locked them up from the first day. That was perfunctory. They were gone already, bro.
Well,
honestly, when you have to watch. Now, like I said, that scene. This man is sitting there with his wife beside him, watching police abuse his son.
And he said nothing.
What the hell was he gonna say? He in the police department.
Yeah, sure. Especially getting
Yeah,
you got that right.
Yeah, he's in the police department. Did he ask an attorney?
Man, this man. Again, I can't speak to this man's mental state of mind, but I will say this: I'd like to think that I would be Robert Webb. Man, y'all hold up, man. Y'all know all this shit y'all doing. Y'all doing wrong. Y'all hold it up, right? I'd like to think I'd be that guy. I'd like to think I would, man. But watching that and just trying to put myself in that brother's place, man, that's a heavy moment. That whole thing is heavy. And even if you take out the part about them talking about the job, that whole moment is heavy. Man, everything right there in that moment. And you sitting there, you ain't got the education. You ain't got no kind of skill to help your son, or you ain't even got the money to get an attorney. I mean, bruh, just imagine being in that moment thinking to yourself how powerless you feel.
Latoya says, yeah, you're right. They were going to jail anyway. That's all the more reason why you don't tell your son to lie. Excellent point.
Well, again,
Excellent point.
Again.
She got you, dog.
No.
She do.
No.
Listen, we agree with you. They were going to jail anyway.
I never said they should have told his son to lie. Never said that.
But he did.
My point is, okay, let me give you some more context. They told him, if your son if your son tells us the truth, then we can work out a deal, right? That's what they told him early on. And so, my man, the way the movie plays, you watch that moment where the brother is sitting there, and the brother's he aged 20 years in 4 minutes, because this
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. 4 minutes. He was sitting there trying to decide. It was like everything in his life. He was trying to pull every recollection he could of being involved in something and trying to figure out how to help his son through this. Right? Now, again, I'm going to say to y'all, it's easy for us to sit here and think that, but let me tell you something. I've been to school with kids that I sit in these offices with them, and I look at their mothers, and I'm looking at them, and I'm thinking to myself, I really wonder what she's thinking. Because she's just pretty much saying, okay, I understand. Okay. Now imagine, and this ain't no police in this room. It's just school administrators, maybe 7 or 8 of them, and it's just 3 of us. Now imagine if she's in some interrogation room. Man, just imagine. I think sometimes we can be really critical on folks, especially in certain situations. Hey, all those parents, I think that they did the best they could under the circumstances.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm not trying to be flippant with this question.
I know.
It's going to sound
I know. Go ahead.
kind of crass.
I know.
Do you think those parents had TVs in their house?
Okay. Yeah, they are.
They probably had TVs, right?
Okay.
Do you think those parents ever watched the news in their houses?
Okay, I'm sure they did.
Probably so, right?
Right.
Do you think those parents ever watched any crimes, dramas on TV?
Okay, see, I get where you're trying to take this, right? I get where you're trying to take this. So this is
No. Let me finish
Okay,
my.
okay,
You did your little soliloquy.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish my questioning, sir. Okay. Do you think that they may have watched some type of crime dramas or anything on TV?
In '89.
Let's say I can tell you.
In '89, probably we only had one.
Oh no,
one maybe two.
No, you had Hill Street Blues, you had Starsky and Hutch, you had Beretta, you had all kinds of.
But those are not.
Okay.
I don't consider those to be the same as what we have now, Law and Order and all that.
Well, when did Law and Order start? Because Law and Order's been around.
They started in the '90s.
Okay, but here's my point: is that there are some basic information that they should have known. I'm not trying to be critical, but that basic info is, I need an attorney. Okay?
Well, you know what?
Because, look, and here's why that's important.
That's funny to me.
Wait a minute. Here's why they should have known that, because odds are those kids grew up in the hood. Mm-hmm. Those kids had friends or maybe relatives who were arrested or convicted or are serving time in jail. I don't know that to be true, but we know the dad was an ex-felon, right?
But we're going to make the same assumption the police department made.
No, I'm not. I'm just simply saying that based on where you grow up teaches you about certain things. So if you grow up in the hood, then you're gonna deal with police. You're gonna deal with incarceration. That's just a fact in our hood, unfortunately. So the one basic thing you ought to know.
So being socialization, you're saying that they should have had a general
idea to say,
basis of knowledge.
I need an attorney.
Needing an attorney through hearing stories and
maybe I'm being simplistic,
interaction.
but I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm just doing it on the opposite spectrum.
No, I don't disagree with you.
You understand what I'm saying, though,
I understand
right?
what you're saying. But again, guys, I wanna make sure I clarify this, right? So, in that moment, in that very moment, that's like having a gun in your face, a loaded gun pointed square in your face. Now, I've had a gun pointed in my face before, and your thought process is not the same, right? You like to think it will be, but it ain't.
Oh, I've had it done to me, yeah.
But it ain't.
Yeah.
You might want to think it's the same, but it ain't. Right? Now, I equate that to what that father faced in that hallway. Now, I ain't saying what brother did was right or wrong. I ain't gonna even call that, because I can't. Right? I don't know what his frame of mind was. I don't know what he was thinking. But what I have to continue to say is, if that were me, I would like to think I could have handled it better. Right? I'd like to think I could have, but I can't guarantee it. Because again, you're talking about raping a white woman. The holy grail of women for white folk, that's the holy grail.
This is the holy grail?
It's the holy grail for them. Now, if it was a black woman, ain't the holy grail. They might have told me, take your son home, we'll come question him tomorrow. But a white woman? Come on, man.
Well, I understand that point of view, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but
all right, Stephen A.
We've got to be, and then it really goes down to what we've been talking about a lot on this show is knowing what is the number one thing on my book list? It's the United States Constitution.
Your rights.
Know your rights. You see, know your rights, and if we know our rights, then we don't get in that predicament. If we teaching kids how to play PlayStation, you certainly can teach them that, hey, when you get arrested by police, you don't say anything. You ask for particularly if you are underage, they have to question you with your parents, and you ask for an attorney. Period. That's pretty simple to teach a child.
But I think you both have valid points, and like I get where Robert's coming from, and I see where you're coming from.
You see where David's coming from?
I'm watching both of you. It's kind of funny. And I see where you're coming from, and I totally agree. We should have this knowledge. We should have an understanding, or at least a general understanding of what to expect, what to have available, what to do. Have a lawyer. Don't speak if you in certain situations, and always make sure.
And by the way, even if you can't afford a lawyer, simply by saying, I want an attorney, even though you don't have one, it stops immediately. And anything that they go past that, they in heat.
Okay, so.
But I think Robert's point is even though you should know, or you should have access to certain things, or you should know not to do certain things, not everyone is given that information or made aware of it, or has that thinking. Sometimes people panic. They react differently under stress, under pressure, especially this life altering situation.
Yeah.
That the father was. I don't necessarily agree with the father, but I can understand him possibly doing what he did, being that he's a felon and whatnot. But I don't think I can see myself doing that to tell my kid to lie like that in that situation. But I think I understand with the pressure and the stress and the situation and all that stuff that was going on, it just probably caused him to think differently than he possibly normally would.
Well, not just that, but you
Magnum PI.
But Dave, you're
Hill
talking about
Street Blue.
You're talking about something totally different, Dave.
Remington Steel.
You're talking about something totally, David.
Matlock.
Those shows are totally different.
Miami Vice.
Totally different, Dave.
Heart
Totally different
to Heart.
shows. Totally different shows.
Hunter.
Dave. Totally different shows.
Kojak.
Dave. Totally different, Dave.
On the spot?
Totally different.
Murder, She Wrote. Chips. In the Heat of the Night.
All these shows are totally different, Dave. All these shows are totally different.
Columbo.
All these shows are totally different.
Night Rider.
Now you're reaching, really. But no. But to the first thing brothers tell you when you doing dirt is don't never ask for a lawyer. Because these brothers gonna assume you guilty. Right?
That's ignorance.
Whatever it is, that's the thing. That's the thing. So it's a lot of things that are being that are not spoken but are understood in this movie that it ain't as that whole situation is not as simplistic as we're sitting here trying to make it. And I mean that with all my heart. Because honestly, the first time I watched that scene, I cried. I mean, dude, I'm talking about I just lost it. I couldn't control myself. I couldn't hold myself.
Do
I
you
wasn't
take
no
a break
good.
so you can get yourself together?
Yeah, whatever. Man.
Yeah.
But I lost it, man. I lost it because me thinking as a father, whew, would I be able to protect my son the way he should have been able to protect his, right? And after watching all the stuff that led up to this, right? I mean, you watch everything that led up to this, how they came in his house. They came in the man's house and just completely disrespected the man's house. I mean, it was just a I can't even talk down. I mean,
LaTanya said 21 Jump Street.
see, y'all talking about something totally different, man. Y'all talking about stuff where they talking about crimes. They investigating crimes. They wouldn't have no law and order when nobody was telling people what their Miranda rights are and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they
Come
did.
on, man, don't do that.
Yeah, they did.
Name me one show.
Okay, you must have.
Name me one show.
Which really what launched.
Okay, name it for me then. Give
I'm
me
gonna
it.
tell you because
Okay.
it's gonna blow your wide.
Okay, I'm ready.
L.A. Law.
LA Law, no. No, sir. You need to watch LA Law. LA Law was not about criminal law. You need to watch LA Law, player.
Okay.
Go to the next one. I'm ready. Because Black Underwood was in that one. I watched
well,
that one all the
there are
time.
plenty
Go to the
of-
next one. I'm going to rip all of them apart. Go ahead, brother.
What about
Go
Heat of the
ahead.
Night? Heat
I'm
of the
ready.
Night. Heat of the Night.
No. Heat of the
as
Night. Heat of the Night wasn't even about that.
Yeah, the Heat of the Night did.
No, it never
They
dealt.
did.
No,
Yeah.
no. You need to go back and watch some episodes of Heat
I
of the
did.
Night.
That was one of my favorites. because
Okay,
of
so
how
if
it
you
rocked.
notice the interrogations, nobody talked about Miranda rights. Nobody talked about their rights being violated. Those conversations were not had.
They
name
gave
me
them their rights,
one
yeah.
defense attorney that you saw on Heat of the Night. Name me one defense attorney you remember. That's what I want to hear now.
The black one.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna work because it wasn't done. Come on.
So,
The only black dude in town. The
Remington's-
only black dude in town was Sweet and Tibbs. Those the only two black dudes in town.
and the rest of them down in the
The
bottom.
rest of them down the bottoms. So tell me where the black attorney was. There wasn't no black attorneys.
Magnum PI.
Magnum PI he did investigations and they flew
Right.
helicopters.
Right.
Only one black
Right.
dude on there too.
And
Go to the next
he
one.
often got people off who were wrongly arrested and convicted.
Dave, what you watch?
You know.
Usually people who are wrongfully convicted is
Yeah.
Poe. He was driving a Ferrari.
It wasn't.
He ain't messing with Poe.
his though.
Don't matter.
The Equalizer.
The Equalizer, come on, bro. Really?
Yep.
The Equalizer ain't never go to court. They just kill people. Come on, man. I watched all these. Come on, give me the next one.
Night Rider.
Oh, come on. We really ain't going to talk about that
Jake and the Fat Man.
one. Okay, next. We ain't going to talk about that one
So
either.
you don't even know.
My
about
squad.
that.
That was Kojak.
That was not Coach
Not Kojak. What's my man named? The fat dude. I can't remember his name now.
Frank William Conrad.
William Conrad. That's it. Come
Yeah,
on,
he
man.
also
Go to the
played
next.
Frank Cannon.
Frank Cannon. That's it. Come on.
Barnaby Jones.
Oh, Jesus. Come on, man. Fish and all them now, man. Move on.
Okay, I'm done.
So that's it.
I'm done. There are quite a few others, but
Chips.
you know.
Really?
You got chips.
Yeah.
Really, Cliff?
Chips.
Come on, Cliff.
So,
You got chips.
You're really reaching now.
You talking about movie or
Chips.
TV show?
but,
Really reaching now.
but anyway, I don't think I would have sold my son out. So that's me.
I'm not saying the man sold his son out, man.
That's
I'm
just
just
me.
saying that in that moment, I don't know what I would have done. I like to think I would have been the man.
It's a hard
I don't know.
situation.
Yeah, that's tough.
No matter how you look at it, it's a hard situation.
But you have to watch it though. I'm not doing it justice because I don't want to get into too much of it because I don't want to be crying on the radio. So y'all have to watch it if you want to really understand the scene.
855-525-5683 is the number. That's the top of the hour. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to talk to Miss LaTanya Austin. We'll get a eye on Little Rock politics and what's going on here in just a moment. We're going to take a top of the hour break, get Robert some tissue. Back in a moment.
A little bit.
You ever seen the 13?
Huh?
The 13?
Yeah.
The law office of James F. Swindoll provides our clients the personal care and attention that larger law firms cannot offer. Our experienced
y'all gotta watch this shit because I'm telling y'all, I don't do it justice.
and federal
Because the reason I don't do it justice is because there's so much that leads up to it, right?
I know.
I don't do it justice. You have to watch the shit.
I gotta watch it when I have a full day to
contact our firm anytime.
Nah, you don't want to do it like that.
Did you watch the entire four episodes?
You want to talk?
It's supposed to be 4 episodes.
No, bro.
848-1290.
Damn, I must be well. It was like. So I got back. After I left the show,
Our law offices are centrally
I went to Pine Bluff,
at 212
and I got back
Street
probably
in
about
Little Rock. That's the law
4:30.
offices of James F.
And I see no one in the hot springs. I ran the hot springs. Stayed in there about 2 hours. Came back, it was about 7. Dude, I watched that, man. And I watched it by accident because I was going to look for.
To connect with the family owned.
I was trying to see if my show. I can't think of the name of my show.
Since
What's the name of my show? Damn, I can't think of the name of my show. I was trying to see if it was on. And so it popped up. It popped up in my feed. And when it popped up, you know how you don't hit it, you start playing. And so my phone rang and the movie just started playing. So when it started playing, I said, I'm gonna watch you miss this shit. Then I started watching it.
Flexible packages are
I was like,
available
fuck, I
as
didn't know
well.
that.
Real Home appreciates
Fuck, I didn't know that either. And I realized, and I remember you saying it was only 4 episodes, right? So we got to episode 4. I was like, man, that was deep. And then the little thing popped up in the bottom and said, next episode started in 9 seconds. I was like, what the fuck is this? Dude, I know. Dude, I started watching it by 7 o'clock. I didn't go to sleep till like 4 o'clock.
Because they're longer than an hour. They're not hour episodes.
They're like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Dude, I know it's probably 6 o'clock. My time might be off because I ain't having like 45 minutes I was asleep. But let me tell you something, man. That was the best all night I ever pulled.
Wow, that's
Serious, that's the
interesting.
best all night I ever pulled. But let me tell you why though, Dad. Y'all really gotta watch it, man, because I don't do it justice. I don't want to tell a whole damn thing, right? But when them motherfuckers come up in that dude's house, man, I felt that motherfucker. I felt that, man, because that was strong. That was strong, man. I'm talking about they up in his house, man. And they up in his house, and they doing they just going through all this shit. Dude, you're a man. You with me? And they finna tell you what they finna do with your kid. They ain't asking you, they telling you we finna take your kid down. That's it. You with me? Man, come on, man. Think about your state of mind that brother had to be in.
That's when you go John Shaft on.
Huh?
That's when you go John Shaft.
Should you go Nate Turn on that?
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management.
So you basically just said what I would have done.
Focus on our issues, our solutions.
Okay, because you ain't taking my son.
Focus Radio.
Sorry. You ain't taking my son. I'll fight you to the death. In fact, that's my only son.
Dave,
I will fight you to the death.
I believe.
I will cut your balls off and stick them down your throat and slap you in the back of the head and make you choke off.
Firmly believe I would have done the same thing.
He's over the frame.
He's so ignorant, man. He's so ignorant. He's for no reason. Stop it. All right, I'm going home. I'll see y'all.
Welcome back to the second hour of Black Focus Radio. Coming up in
I'm
just a
leaving.
moment.
I gotta go.
We'll be talking about that.
I gotta go.
Hey, play it.
I gotta
man.
go. Man. I'm done with you.
Hey, play it. Don't come for mine. I'm just saying, man. Oh, Lord. What we're talking about, obviously, is When They See Us. Robert has had the opportunity to view the piece. I purposely have not viewed it. And the reason I haven't viewed it is because I'm watching the conversation. In part because PBS did a full documentary of this 3 or 4 years ago that really goes in depth as well. And I've been following this case from almost day one. It just, as I mentioned yesterday, I can see NBC News and Tom Brokaw in his report that evening. It stood out to me so much. And I can see it right now in my head. So that part of the reason I haven't watched it is, not to sound like I'm arrogant or something.
But you are.
Okay. Gee, thanks, Robert. I resemble that remark.
All right.
But I know the story. Now, I certainly...
Well, let me tell you something, Dave.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I know you're going to say, well, there's other things that are not missing. And then, of course, when it's visual, it has a different impact on you than when you're reading it, to some extent. And a lot of it depends on how it's written. Typically, the accounts that I read was usually newspaper articles or editorials or things of that nature. So it doesn't have the inflammatory type jargon and words like that to get you riled up, so to speak. But with a visual piece of art, this being a documentary, then because you see it, it impacts you differently. Yeah. So I understand your concern about that. So.
I think what when we read the newspapers, we were only given the opinions of the media, right? So whenever I read the Houston Chronicle or whatever paper I was reading at the time to read about the story, we only got that.
Right.
We didn't get anything else, right? So,
and it wasn't until years later that you began to get the real story.
I think honestly, I didn't read anything else about it until, I probably have to say in 2014 when they finally got the money and they put that story out in the New York Times. Mm-hmm. I think that's the last time I read something about it. Mm-hmm. Right? But then even then when I read that, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the sock. I didn't know about the sock DNA. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about the footsteps. Nobody ever told us that there was one set of prints, one set of footprints, right?
Yeah, that was in the reports.
I never, in the reports, but I never read that in the paper.
Right.
I never read it.
Okay.
I'm not saying it wasn't there, but I never read it.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things, man, that
see, that was the concern when they first said these 5 boys did it. And I forgot who had brought it up, but they only found one set of prints. Well, and people were saying, well, wait a minute. If 5 boys was wilding, as the media called it, you would have had multiple sets of prints. That's where the police story really, at least those who were investigating it, not from a police standpoint, but from a journalistic standpoint, those legitimate journalists began to ask those questions. Well, but the fervor to convict someone, including the mayor of New York, it was a national story that the police, evidence be damned. These are the guys.
The lady who's a novelist now,
Linda Fairstein. We need to make sure we mention her name.
She should be hung, whatever they can do to her, because she set the whole thing in motion.
Yep.
Because the prosecutor came to her and said, "Hey, this don't make sense. Everybody recanting. Ain't not one boy said that they were in the right place. Not one of them. Mm-hmm. You with me? Not one of them said that they was in the right place. One guy said he stuck his penis in. Another guy said he didn't. Another guy said he held her arm. Another guy said no, he held her leg. No idea. Nobody's story. Not one story.
Nothing corroborated.
Yeah, not one story was consistent. Not one. Mm-hmm. Now, the crazy thing is these boys should have been let go soon as they picked them up. The reason why is because, like you said, If you say it's 5 boys, you gotta have 5 footprints.
Yep.
Now, mind you, they picked these boys up, and ain't nan one of them got no blood on them.
Nope. And by the way, they picked those 5 boys randomly. You know, there were up
Yeah.
to 25 to 30 young boys in the park
They
that
were
night.
just picking up 16-year-olds.
Exactly.
And Yusuf
Exactly.
wasn't 16. He was
Exactly.
15. Now, his mom came down and handled her business, but it didn't matter. That was my point about his father. It didn't matter what he said. It didn't matter what he said. His son was gone. His son was gone from the moment that woman told him, do what you got to do to get me a confession. I mean, they beat the hell out them kids.
I know.
I'm talking about beat them
I
like they
know.
were grown men.
I know.
So, yeah, I feel very little. I don't know what the word is. I feel very little empathy for police right now, even less than I felt before.
It's on every day.
Well, just.
But again, man,
let me
that's
ask you
a
something.
tough situation.
If you knew a police officer who said this, congratulations, George Zimmerman. Thank you for cleaning up our community one thug at a time. But you want him to be on your force.
Or you
You know what? I pay Little Rock police officers who say far worse than that.
Every single day I wake up in a house that was built by slaves. Underneath it, there's a picture of famed actor John Wayne with the caption that says, "Then get out and take your gay Muslim husband with you." That was directed at Michelle Obama. That's one of your finest police officers.
I
Then
told
there's
you.
the text message scandal from Florida
Right.
where they kept referring to black folks as immigrants and animals and how they wanted to go hunting. And it was a good day to can't remember what they were saying.
Or the police department in
Strangle
Florida
them.
that was using black people's pictures as they did target practice.
Yeah.
So
Hey, man,
what I'm saying to
you
you,
could be openly racist on the Little Rock Police Department. You can call people niggas. You can call them spooks. You can do whatever you want to do on the Little Rock Police Department, and there are no repercussions for that. But guess what? You pay for it. So if
Yes,
you're happy
you do.
with it, that's cool. If you cool with it, I'm cool with it.
yes, you do.
Enjoy yourself. So don't start complaining when they do your son or somebody else's son bad.
855-525.
You allowed it.
5683.
Well, I should say you. We allow it.
We got to take another quick break. Coming up, we'll take an eye on Little Rock here in just a moment with LaTanya Austin. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. I'm David Coleman, along with Robert Webb and Cliff May, with some conversation. And I want to ask you all a question about this abortion debate. Y'all
About
ready for
what?
that? About the abortion debate.
I can't talk about abortion.
Why can't you?
I can't have no baby.
I'm glad you said that. We'll be right in just you. Boy, I set that up on a tee for you, didn't it?
You're
We'll be
funny.
back in
You're
just a
funny.
moment.
On a tee.
That was cute. That was cute.
It's funny because he's got a tee on a t-shirt.
Yeah, T on the t-shirt. That was cute. I like that one.
This is attorney Danielle Ross.
Where your girl at? She calling in?
I'm calling her.
Oh, you gonna call her?
Is your
Yeah.
bill becoming unmanageable? Are you struggling to make ends meet?
She has a luncheon, so she said she could get it out.
What she know about Little Rock politics?
Well, I need to explain it to you. We'll have to do it off air, okay? Yeah, 501. Oops. 501, 541.
Oh, one second. Sean King's talking about.
Yeah.
Hey, LaTanya, this is Dave Coleman from Joynet Radio, Black Focus. I was trying to give you a call Give me a call when you get this message at 855-525-5683. Okay? We'll be expecting your call. Try it again.
You missed out on the car show this weekend, Dave.
I didn't want to pay $15.
You want to pay 15 and sweat? You been selling all day up there. About 10.
I saw some nice Mustangs there.
Yeah, we had Engine Fest at the beginning. Everybody could order the engines back and forth.
Hey, LaTanya, Dave Coleman at Black Focus Radio. Give me a call as soon as you get this message. We'll be waiting on your call. 855-525-5683 is that number. Okay? Look forward to hearing from you. All right, let's get back. All right, welcome back to the show. Talking a lot about when they see us. Of course, I want to add another conversation to the show as well. As I told you all earlier in the show, I ran across this process diagram. And the T's before works pretty good as it relates to what Robert said. And says basically we don't have anything to do with abortion because he can't have a baby. So let me just follow this process diagram for you, and then we'll get some comments here. It starts with have opinions of abortion, have opinions about women's reproductive rights. You start off by saying, do you have a vagina? And you have two options, yes or no. If it's no, then shut up, and then you go to stop. If it's yes, is your opinion about your own vagina? If it says yes, express your opinion freely. And as you can see, I was the first one to post on this on this picture. And I said, a woman has no reproductive rights without a man because a woman is not capable of spontaneous regeneration. So yes, the father does have a say. Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say, but at the end of the day, when you talk about a reproductive right, that's something that you solely own. Okay, so that means that if you are the only one that has that right, then you ought to be able to make that right happen without anyone else, right? I don't care if y'all don't agree with y'all. I know y'all scared. Y'all scared of cats?
No, I ain't
but at the
scared.
end of the day, the only way you get that reproductive right is because of a man. So how the hell can you tell me to shut up? Because I am 50% responsible for you having that reproductive right. You may not like it, but that's a fact, Jack.
Dave. I'm going to say this. Like Forrest Gump said, I'm going to say this. That's going to be all about that. I firmly believe. Let me go back. I need to go back. I grew up in a house with nothing but women.
I understand that.
My mother, my sister, my grandmother. I grew up in a house with nothing but women. My aunties, my cousins.
Yep.
I grew up in a house with nothing but women. And even at 50, I still don't understand women.
Nope.
So, that being said, I think a woman has a right to decide what she wants to do with her body.
Right.
Now, even if I lent her my sperm, she still has a right to decide what she wants to do with her body. Now, you're probably saying to me, Well, it seems like you're for abortion. I'm for killing anything. I'm for killing anything. I ain't mad. I kill deer. I kill squirrels. I'm killing everything. I ain't mad. I think everybody got to die at some point. And as far as Gump said, that's all I got to say about that.
Cliff? Don't be scared.
Jesus died. Why can't nobody else die?
Yeah, my friends are gonna murder me for this one. Traditionally, you're brought up to believe that when it comes to abortion, it's all about the woman, and for the most part, I believe in that. But you can make an interesting point, though. It's like if a woman was able to conceive by herself, I can fully support that. But if I'm with someone, she gets pregnant, and we're together, we're in a relationship, and it's nothing sketchy about it, then I think that I should have some input into whether she's going to keep this or essentially get rid of it.
Hold that thought. We need to go to LaTanya Austin real fast. But we'll come back to this because this is a conversation that needs to be had. I don't care if you don't have anything to say. You chicken.
I ain't chicken. I just don't think if I ain't got a vagina, I should be.
That's true. Okay. All right. On the line with us right now, we have LaTanya Austin with an eye on Little Rock. Hey, LaTanya, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining Black Focus Radio. We are doing fantastic.
I'm wonderful.
Okay, LaTanya, let's talk a little bit about Little Rock. What's going on that we need to be concerned about? I read a story the other day where, for some reason or another, the governor has decided to change the election dates. Why should I be concerned about that? Yeah, so what was the thought process with the legislature moving this date?
Well, let's move our primary date up and maybe try to get some of these presidential candidates to come through Arkansas, and we'll have our primary in May, and maybe we can be some type of swing state of sorts. So that was at least the express rationale. There have been some arguments that the date was moved up in a way to suppress voters because people don't know that it's been moved up. And so, it may be an attempt to keep some people from actually getting to the polls during that primary election. So it's important that we sound the alarm because people may actually miss the primary altogether, just not realizing that it was moved to March.
That's an excellent idea, but given the fact that we have a Republican legislature with a Republican governor, some probably could argue that there were nefarious ideas of moving this date.
Oh, absolutely. And the argument has been acknowledged. It's been reversed. It's been acknowledged or voiced. It's been acknowledged. And so it's definitely not something that people are, shying away from or not saying. The fact of the matter is are, it is what it is, and so we have to do whatever we can to make sure that people are aware of it, that they get their request for the absentee ballot, and then not only that, but also even getting people registered for the first time. It changes those deadlines. The deadline is typically 30 days before the election, and so again, if you're thinking that the primary is in May, you may not even go to register until late March, thinking you still have time, but you will miss it because the election, at least for the presidential primary, is March 3rd, 2020.
What type of public relations campaign is out there, or at least being generated, to make people, particularly people in our community, people of color, aware of these changes and why?
There is not one. And part of the reason I'm convinced is that a lot of people who would ordinarily be a part of these efforts, and when I say these efforts, I mean efforts to get people registered, efforts to make sure that people get to the polls, some of them have not realized that the date has changed. And so those of us who have been keeping up with the legislature or in some way or another found out that the date has changed and how it affects people of color and people in our community, it's incumbent upon us to get the information out and start building coalitions or just activating the coalitions that are already in place to make sure that we start getting that information out.
I would think forthcoming here that you will start seeing at least some flyers or something, passed out into churches. Part of the problem with people not voting is the fact that people don't know. So here's a opportunity for us to at least make people aware that dates of changes that could affect all kinds of things. We've got to do something to get the word out to our people.
So, and so part of the problem is the lack of education and the lack of a full understanding of what needs to happen in the meantime. And so when I say in the meantime, I'm talking about between election cycles. Okay, so we just came off of a pretty major election cycle. And, some people, they feel like we should just take a break. And so even as I'm talking to people now about making sure everything is important for the next election cycle, they're like, well, why are you talking about it so early? And I'm saying, it's not early.
Yeah.
It will be here any minute. And so it's not early, especially when you're trying to get the word out to so many people and you're not sure if the masses of people are going to be able to sound the alarm and get that information out massively. And so flyers to churches, making sure that we are actually paying attention to even some of the local organizations that we have and efforts that they may try, that they're presenting to make sure that we are aware of what's going on and not just check out in the meantime and then pop back up, 2 weeks before early voting starts.
That's an excellent point. Is there anything else that we need to be concerned about at this point today?
Other than I would just make sure that we pay attention to the things that are on our ballot. I was really trying to encourage people to pay attention to the ballot issues. And when I say the ballot issues, I mean those constitutional amendments and changes, things like voter ID and the casino measure and all of those things, just making sure that we stay connected. There are going to be some pretty important races that are coming up in March and then subsequently in November. So it's not too early to start doing research now because individuals have already started announcing their candidacy. So, if we start early, then we can really, by the time we handle the GOTV, the Get Out the Vote effort, it's not hearing it for the first time, but it's reinforcing the research that we've already been doing.
We're talking to LaTanya Austin with our view on Little Rock. LaTanya, I know you've got to go. Just one other question. What happened to those organizations or those entities that, and I'm a little older than you, and maybe I'm dating myself. That's illegal in 6 states, by the way. What happened to those organizations that would educate the black populace about who to vote for, what a particular issue is, what a particular statute may mean to them. Are we planning, or is anyone planning to bring that type of educational apparatus back? Because I think that's an important key as far as educating the populace moving forward.
I will tell you, the NAACP, there are not as many active individuals in that organization as there should be, but I do know that there are attempts by the multiple branches of the NAACP to keep people aware and informed. Organizations such as Indivisible, Decarcerate, even the Arkansas Democratic Black Caucus, all of these organizations are focused on making sure that people can preserve their rights and exercise those rights. And so, and now with social media and all of that, if you just go and follow some of these organizations and like their page, so that those things can then begin to populate in your algorithm for these social media, so that you see what's going on. A lot of it's being posted, but you know, sometimes, quite honestly, we're just too busy looking at funny videos and other stuff. So there definitely needs to be a paradigm shift so that we can fully wrap our minds around what's going on. So yeah, those organizations I know for sure are really involved. League of Women Voters, there are a number of them, and they're trying to get the information out, but sometimes, it doesn't translate because it gets to a point where sometimes we're talking to ourselves because people aren't showing up. We try to go, used to be a time. You said if you feel that they will come, or, nowadays if you host it, they will come. There are a lot of community forums that are hosted, but people just aren't coming. And so we've got to address that issue as well.
LaTanya, great stuff as always.
Got one question.
My co-host Robert Webb has a quick question for you.
How you doing? Hey, I'm good. Hey, so I know you probably been keeping up with the whole budget talks and getting rid of the golf course and making it a park. Have you heard any? Can you share a little bit on that one? Okay.
That I mentioned earlier, is there's so much work to be done that you have to find an area and focus on that area, and in the hopes that there's someone else focusing on the area that you're not focusing on, so that they're all addressed. And so, unfortunately, I'm not really able to speak to that issue. I will just say this: whenever there are budget talks, I personally, I always look to find people's agendas, because there are always agendas that are trying to be reached, and so it's, I don't really have a personal opinion one way or the other, and I suppose once I sit down and figure out, because I don't play golf, and my kids are too old to go to the park. They're like, college age now, so unfortunately I just haven't been keeping up with that, because I'm really just trying to get people to focus on some other things, like voting in our local elections, making sure that our local rights are preserved and all of that. And so that's all I've got to say about it.
Hey, LaTanya, look, we're really looking forward to this segment once a week. I think it's going to do the city good. It certainly will help people to get a better understanding on what's going on, even whether it's budget, whether it's voting, whatever the case may be. We at least have to have a place where people can go to and say, hey, they're going to talk about that on the show today. Let me listen. So we appreciate you being a part of this process, and we know you'll be doing them periodically as well as other people. So I'm really excited about this partnership. So you keep up the great work, and eventually we need to get you here in studio. Yay. And bring lunch. All right, thanks, LaTanya. Good talking to you. 855. That's LaTanya Austin. We're going to be doing a Focus on Little Rock segment once a week. And yeah, exactly. And I think it's important to get people out from the community. There'll be various people that will be doing this segment, and so I'm looking forward to it. And you know, that budget issue that you brought up is something that we could task them to say, hey, next week we want to talk about the budget issue and what's going on, so people will understand all of that as well.
Yeah, I just want people to understand one thing. That's it. I don't want to understand nothing else. I don't care if you understand nothing else. I just want to understand one thing.
Okay.
That's it. One thing.
Oh, okay. We got another call on the line. Hey, caller, what's up, man? Yes. Hey, Tracy Ann Nelson, how you doing, girl?
T. Nelson.
I have to comment on two of your topics.
Okay.
Uh-oh, I know it's one of them.
Okay.
This is about to get real.
With my boys, it was absolutely painful, and I wasn't in the U.S. when that went down, but you know, to be engaged in a conversation with, you know, my teenager and my son who's older while we watched that was really important, and I would recommend parents to watch it with their children, boys and girls.
Now, Tracy, how old are your sons?
17 and 22.
Okay.
23 this month. But the thing about, I don't know if you realize that the son that the father told him to lie, that is the thing that son has lived with for his entire life since. And all of those men, you know, those boys who are men now were on, did an interview recently, and I think it was 60 Minutes, and that child whose parents, you know, encouraged him to lie, he still lives with it. He broke down in the interview and said, I just wish my dad would have believed in me.
See?
And I can't imagine how devastating that is for that entire family.
Yeah.
I think it's still the bane of his existence.
Yeah. That's. Yeah, but I mean, okay, Tracy. Let me ask you a quick question, Tracy. So, leading all the way up into that scene, I mean, you remember when the police walked in the house, right? And the look the father had on his face, leading all the way up until when they were in the interrogation room. To some degree, I kind of feel the father's. I don't know what the. Well, I'm not gonna say fear as.
But he also felt like it was hopeless.
Well, I don't think he had no choice. Right? He had right. Exactly. He was just like, you know, what am I gonna do? And I keep telling Dave, we all like to think in a situation like that we would actually do the thing. Exactly. But I mean, being in that moment, that's your kid. I mean, that was the toughest thing I've seen Roots like 1,000,000 times. Ease by You 1,000,000 times. That was the toughest scene I've ever watched on live TV. That was the toughest one ever.
What's the gentleman who did Roots and reading?
LeVar Burton.
No, Alex Haley.
His comments.
LeVar, you talking about?
I did see that as well.
What did he say? I didn't see it.
He's basically said that this was the biggest
piece of information for the Black community since Roots is really what he said.
Yeah, so.
I didn't see that part.
And every time I watch it, because I've watched it now twice, I just break down because it is so emotionally wrecking for me. With your discussion around women's reproductive rights and abortion, let me say this. Again, you seem to like to have these conversations without women in the room so that they don't have a chance to respond. But don't do that for us now. No?
Our door always open.
We can't have children without you. They're called sperm banks. Number two.
But whoa,
Where you
wait a
get your
minute.
sperm
But wait a
from,
minute.
though?
But
Don't
wait a
do
minute.
that. Don't do that.
But hey, I hear that. No. Wait a minute, Tracy.
She
Because
heard your point.
that's an invalid point. Because you cannot have a child without a man. Even though you get that sperm from a sperm bank, you still need a man. So you are not capable of spontaneous regeneration. Now you can continue.
Whatever. That means nothing. Because I just haven't done without him. Anyway, it is unfortunate that that's the kind of conversation that you want to have, rather than what is the solution for women to have access to health care without interruption and safety, right? That it is, whether or not we have access to abortion, rather than, okay, change the story completely or change the subject completely. If you believe that you or anybody else to come and say in the process of pregnancy, ensure the pregnancy from the minute it begins and pay for it. Nobody's going to talk about that, right? Because it's going to be too expensive. So you want to share the response?
Are you done? Can I respond now? Because my argument is not about whether or not you have health care as women. I certainly agree that you have to have that. But here's the bottom line, is that you say that you can still have a baby without a man, but you can't have a baby without a sperm, which comes from a man. So that argument is that argument is invalid. That argument is invalid. Okay, so it is invalid, Tracy, because at the end of the day, you need something from a man to have a baby. Now, here's the bottom line, and I know women don't like this. No, it has nothing to do with misogyny, and what you're doing is trying to paint that, because I'm trying to have a legitimate conversation about this issue, because I support women's rights and women's health. But I also support fathers' rights, okay? And at the end of the day, a father has a right to that child. And when that child is conceived, he is conceived by a father, not from a sperm bank. Now, if you want to have a serious conversation, you need to start including fathers in this conversation, because you don't have that baby by yourself. Now, you all can get mad at me all you want. Okay, so Tracy, let me ask you a question. So basically what women are saying on this issue is that we can punish men because of their physiology. Where have we heard? Oh, yes, you are. When you look at it logically, that's exactly. You're saying that, hey, you don't have a right to say anything because you don't have a womb. Well, what if men said that for decades? Men said, hey, you can't be a doctor because you're a woman. Men said you can't fly a plane because you're a woman.
You can't talk over it, Dave. You guys are to talk.
You are welcome to have a say, as well as
You
your
like that.
responsibility. But guess what? You get to choose that. I don't.
So what if I choose that I want to be a part of my child's life? What if I choose? Wait a minute, Trace. Let me ask you a question. What if I choose that, hey, I want the child as the father, but you don't as the mother? You saying that because you don't want the child, you have a right to abort? Okay, so you say it has to be a discussion, and the discussion still ends that dad wants the child and mama doesn't. You're saying dad don't have a right because you carry the child for 9 months?
Be an ongoing discussion until there's some path forward for both.
But that's what you're saying. But the argument that is coming from the larger community is that men don't have a say. That's what I'm saying. How do you figure I don't have a say when I'm 50 Cent responsible for having that child?
You know, the data says that men walk away from their children regular.
Well, if you want to talk about data, because you know I have plenty of data, is that part of the reason men walk away from their children is because 50% of the mothers don't want men in their lives. That's not me saying it. That's the CDC. So we can throw stats around all we want. Okay? We can do that all day long. Okay? But the bottom line is this, and this is all I'm saying, that when it comes to the abortion issue, wait a minute. When it comes to the abortion issue, when two consenting adults see, I love it when women do that. See, when we talk about an issue affecting us, you're male victims. You don't understand. You can't talk about our issue. Okay? That's just like a white guy telling me that I can't talk about racism. Okay? Come on, that's a sorry argument. That's a sorry argument. At the end of the day, Tracy, and here's the bottom line, and we're going to have to agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, men, when two consenting adults, and I stress consenting adults, decide that they are going to participate in sexual activity, and one becomes pregnant, all of a sudden, you no longer have no rights. The only rights that are important is that child. And that means that both parents have the right to say how that child is brought into this world.
Dave.
That's just my opinion.
Dave.
Don't have to like it.
Dave, I got, hold on, Tracy Ann, one quick second. Tracy.
That is, okay, we have talked forward, and we will move forward with bearing the child. So, what are your acts?
What do you mean, what are my acts? Relating to anything what a father normally does. I'm not talking about...
Hey, Tracy.
So, again, we go back to saying, hey, because dad doesn't have a womb, he doesn't have anything to say. Well, you shouldn't be. That's but that's exactly what women are saying. Is that because of your physicality, as a man,
women are texting saying, "Let Tracy Ann talk." You're talking over her. Stop it.
How your role can be envisioned when you come to that decision together.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
It is. Once you both come to the decision to move forward, how do you see your role? Just standing there looking? Or are you going to be totally invested in ensuring health and safety so that the child can have that?
I can only speak for myself and my children, my two children, that's what I was totally invested. Okay? I can only speak for myself. That's how I was totally invested. Okay? So we're still getting away from the point. And we're not.
Please, that shared responsibility can be, and no one is doing that. And here's my proposition. Whenever you want to decide to recognize the pregnancy, it should be insured. If you are saying that life begins at whatever point it begins, it should be insured like any other life.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But here's my point. I don't care. I don't care what law decides when life begins. Whether it begins when you smile at her or when you do the do. But at the end of the day, when a baby is conceived, daddy has rights. And the problem with this argument is that we are being talked about and talked around and not asked what are our rights. Because after all, it was us who helped bring that baby here. Now, you may not like that, but that's biology. Okay? And to try to punish men by simply saying, oh, you have no rights because you're a man and I can decide whether I want to kill a baby or bring a baby to term because I'm the woman, I'm sorry. That's wrong. That's just wrong. That's how I view it.
You wonder why I always dress in black? Why you never see bright colors on my
Because women are not in any authority position to decide anything.
I'm just simply saying that you say you want fathers involved. When a father wants to get involved, oh, you don't have a right to say so. So, oh, wait 9 months and then you can get involved. Or wait 5 years after he is in elementary school, you can get involved. Okay? If you want dads involved, they have to be involved from day one. And as a matter of fact, they are involved from day one because that's how the pregnancy occurred. That's just the bottom line. My opinion isn't popular, but that's a fact. Look, I've been fighting fathers' rights for 25 years, and I'm going to tell you like I tell everybody who asks me that question. Listen. I'm getting ready to answer your question. I'm going to tell you like I told the legislators in Tennessee, in Georgia, and all the other places that I testified in those cases. I don't give a damn about deadbeat dads because the dads that I represent are fathers who want to be involved in their children's lives. And believe it or not, there are more fathers than deadbeat dads. Period. End of story. That's how I look at it. So I can't answer that question. If you say so. Tracy Ann, we're so glad to hear from you. We're so happy to hear from you. Robert has something for you. Hang on a minute. What is that, Robert? Oh, man. Anyway, Tracy, it was good to hear from you. We got to get you back on and talk a little bit about education as well. That's good. That's good to hear. Okay, so if you can, drop by on Tuesday and let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the education arena here in Arkansas. All right. You too, Tracy. Bye-bye. I love me some Tracy Ann, man. I don't know what y'all talking about.
So like I was saying about the budget, so just think I want y'all to know, I ain't even having no conversation about that last conversation.
Hey, but again,
I'm not having a conversation about the last
but
conversation.
Look, so, I'm sorry that I decided. I'm sorry that, hey, look, when you look at someone who has been fighting for fathers' rights,
by the way,
I don't care if they man. I don't care about your little game.
About 5 women said, till the day he got his A whooped by Tracy Hayes.
Yeah, whatever. Because y'all don't want to look at it logically. You don't want to look at it. Look, until
I'm not gonna have this conversation with you. I ain't got but 7 minutes. Okay, we gotta talk about
until you can have a baby by yourself, until you are capable of spontaneous regeneration, then don't stop this mess about dads don't have a say. Stop it.
I'm 50.
Stop it.
I'm 50. I'm 50. I'm 50. I can't have no babies.
Two people produce one person. And only one person gets to dictate the outcome of that.
Exactly.
Okay,
that's ludicrous.
Again, we're going to move on.
Biology dictates.
It's crazy, man.
That you need one from each person.
You know?
I'm not apologizing.
Now we're running around talking about equal rights. Oh, you want equal rights when it's convenient for
y'all
you.
Know my mama,
you don't want
y'all
equal
know my
rights.
mama listening right now. I'm not apologizing for nothing. I'm not apologizing.
You want
mama,
equal rights when it's convenient. Oh, you really want equal rights? You want me to follow you with equal rights, then give fathers equal rights to their children. Okay, what you got, Robert?
I don't know now. I'm feeling scared of y'all. Y'all like gangsters up in there. Y'all like sperm gangsters.
Man.
We taking back our sperm.
That's right.
No more sperm for y'all.
That's right. Forget it.
Jesus. Man.
And the budget.
Man, you know what, man? You know what would be, I just thought about, man. Wouldn't it be really strange if Mary put down on child support? I mean, that would have been insane. All right, let me stop. But listen, seriously. Come on, man. I thought that was fun. Stop.
Wait a minute, no, you didn't. Okay. Robert, I believe you said that, man. Yeah. Look how Cliff looking at you, man. He like, did Robert really say that? Yeah.
I'm not here.
It's just stuff that you think about, right?
Cliff said, I'm sorry I came in today.
I mean, it's just stuff you think about. I mean, seriously, that's just stuff you think about. I mean, honestly. I mean, in the world we live in now, I mean, you know, don't you ever think about that? I mean, would there be something that's crossing your mind? I mean, seriously. I mean, really,
Well,
can y'all not? I mean,
and I tell you what, Me Too could kind of go after him too.
Yeah, because he did just take it. He
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Chips on the age. So, yeah, you can go all down that rabbit hole, man.
So let's stop. I don't want to be apologizing.
Okay.
All right. The Him Too movement.
Yeah.
The Him Too movement.
Yeah, because he was back. She was married.
Oh yeah.
I was just saying because I know. It's a delicate situation. I gotta be careful.
All right.
There was a church situation where a certain bishop,
he blessed one of his parishioners.
He was found guilty of not found guilty, but several pastors, they came out saying that this particular bishop sexually assaulted them and would try to get them to do all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was in Atlanta, right? Long. Was that Long? No, that was somebody else. Okay, I remember
It's
that
one I
Long.
used to go to.
Ooh.
Okay.
Up in Ohio.
All right, so you're going to do this budget thing. You got 4 minutes. So,
All right.
and we can't tear it today because I got a doctor's appointment at 2:30. So we're going to have to bust out of here.
All right, player. So listen, this is the thing, y'all. So everybody talking about these budget cuts. I'm only concerned about one thing. I'm only concerned about the golf course. And the only reason I'm concerned about the golf course is the city of Little Rock got over 20-some parks. You ain't got but 4 golf courses.
Is it TUF?
So you're talking about they're trying to wipe out War Memorial.
They're trying to close War Memorial. They want to make War Memorial a park. But you already got parks you ain't maintaining.
I was just there.
Yeah, you already got parks you ain't maintaining. So why would you want to create
the stadium itself?
No, the golf course, War Memorial Golf Course.
Okay.
Now let me tell you something really interesting. So of all the golf courses in the city of Little Rock,
Why don't you just tear down the stadium and park there?
that sounds like a great idea to me.
Then the Razorbacks can't come and play.
So this is the thing I need everybody to understand. So when people start having conversations with people, this is the thing I need to understand. Little Rock could get rid of Little Rock City Zoo. That'll save us about $7 million a year. That's what we put into the Little Rock Zoo.
It's a pitiful.
Give it to the state. Because they're landlocked. They can't go anywhere, right? So what they're trying to say is they want to close War Memorial and make it a zoo. But we just got our accreditation back 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, we always lose our accreditation. It's craziness, the things that they're talking about doing. But more importantly, I want to make these points because I think it's important they be made. First and foremost, of all 4 golf courses, First Tee is the only golf course that keeps its own revenue. So everybody who goes and plays at First Tee, all that money stays at First Tee. Now, you're going to hear in the next couple of weeks that First Tee does not get city funding. Again, First Tee keeps all its city revenue. First Tee supposedly is for disadvantaged children. First Tee gets prevention, intervention, and treatment dollars, amongst other things. Plus, they just went to the city board not long ago and asked for another $600,000. So I say to you, my friends, when people start talking about closing down a golf course, what we're more than wanting to close is First Tee. Now, people will get mad at me and say, well, why you want to do that to the kids? Ain't no black kids going out there. So close it down.
Okay.
So if anybody asks you what golf course should be closed, y'all tell them First Tee.
Well,
Little Rock has over 20 parks. I can't remember the exact number now, but they only have 4 golf courses.
And one other quick point, the Veta Flowers said this. I have a comment about the Central Park 5. Some people say what they would do if it were them. As a mother of a wrongful accused daughter, my first concern was getting money to get my daughter out of jail. I agree with that. My first course of action was contacting a bail bondsman. The whole process was a living hell, and thank God my daughter is free and didn't get life for attempted capital murder. LRPD was wrong and never apologized for their actions. We hear you, Davita.
Go ahead, sister.
No doubt about that. And really, I think you're making the point that we're saying, at least I'm saying, is that my first goal is to get my son out of there.
Okay, but see, again, I gotta take y'all back, man, because brothers, I don't think y'all working with me.
We ain't that.
You kill the holy grail. You kill the holy grail of the white world. You kill the white woman.
Then you
Now,
beat up a white woman.
imagine,
I mean, like Birth of a Nation.
yeah, just imagine had it been a white girl and she was about 9. Oh man, ain't no telling what they would have done to Harlem. Ain't no telling what they would have done. Yeah, probably. Come on, man. Let's be real about that. Now, you've been a black man. You see what they've done to white folks. You've heard the stories about how white men have done horrible things to black folks.
That's when you grab the other plantation workers and grab your rifles and hatchets.
And get busy. And you are in this situation right here, right? Now, you don't know at the house what's going to happen, but you realize real soon that your son has been accused of raping a white woman. And
You know, when the music stops,
killing
I mean, you should be stopping.
Oh, now you're going to try to run through me like that? That's how you're going to do me play?
Yeah.
You trying to treat me like Trey Sagan? Meet me on the corner. Meet me on the corner.
Which one?
15th.
15th and what?
Whichever 15th you can find. I'll be at all of them.
Just drive it up and down.
Just drive up and down.
Then you gonna get arrested for loitering.
Yeah. That's
Hey,
right.
what you doing driving up and down 15? I'm waiting on David Coleman.
You got my bail? You got my bail?
Yeah, I got you, bro.
Man, I'm good.
I got you, bro.
That's right. Let's roll.
Hey, I hope you all enjoyed the show. I certainly did. It's always great to have both of you guys in there and good conversation, lively conversation. Look, we have to understand that we're not going to agree on everything. But that's the whole point of having dialogue, is that, hey, after the show, we're still going out and have drinks. Robert's buying. We got to get out of here, man. Cliff, say goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, y'all, once and for all, spend money in your own community. If you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
Yeah.
All right, y'all have a great day, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. It's Black Focus Radio. Our issues, our solutions, our voices on joinnetradio.com.
Good show. You've been listening to Black Focus, where we discuss our issues
Good show.
and our voices. Join us every weekday afternoon at 1 p.m.
Yeah, I gotta go to a doctor's appointment, guys.
You gotta roll out, huh?
Trying to get this.
Massage parlor up in Boston.
You mean down in Florida? But you know what? Those massage parlors that what's his name went to, the Patriots owner, they had them suckers in Nashville.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they had them in Nashville.
Fuck, you suck, you get lucky one?
And